If you love me, please don't judge me. Got my hands tied, the power's above me. Don't shoot the messenger, I'm just a puppet here. If you wanna place blame, then look to the puppeteer. Family, fortune, envy, jealousy, privilege, passed on, legacy, secret, sabotage, borderline, felony, suicide, subtract, selfish, pedigree, yeah.
So yeah, Phoenix happened this weekend. At least this weekend it was a crossover with IndyCar. But even despite the Cup Series cars having 80 more horsepower than last year, and 750 being a more superior package, it still played out like an average Phoenix race. Just with more Goodyear Tire Roulette. Honestly, this weekend was the main reason why Phoenix should not have 2 fucking dates. And why Phoenix needs to go down to 1. Like, honestly, the crossover weekend with IndyCar this weekend should be the only Phoenix date this year. And, of course, this starts a stretch of 7 straight weeks of races that being on tracks that are in the chase. So, yeah. And, of course, a lot of drivers and teams saying that this weekend is the start of NASCAR, of racing season, of the real season. It's like, no, the real season fucking started last week in COTA. Honestly, anybody that says that the real season started this week are just drivers, teams, and fans pushing their anti-road course agenda. Like, honestly, these people are not even trying to hide the road course hate. Like I said last week, road course hate is so fucking forced in NASCAR, it's not even funny anymore. It's fucking pathetic. Like, I'll just say this. If you want to just come out and just say you hate road course races, then just be a fucking adult and just say it already. Instead of hiding your hate in the damn closet. Just look at me with my hate for stupid speedways. I don't hide anything there. I lead by example. But anyway, with that little mini rant there to open up out of the way, let's actually get to the racing this weekend.
I'm calling both games!
So, beginning with the ARCA race, which is also a combo race with ARCA West at Phoenix, and the ARCA West's second race of the season, and ARCA's second race of the season. And, well, this race was just a Carson Brown show from flag to flag, just dominated and won this race pretty handily. Wasn't really in question, so yeah, very strong showing for the RCR product. And, of course, well, there were a couple crashes, like, it was your typical ARCA race. I mean, what else do you expect at Phoenix? Like honestly, it's just ARCA at Phoenix. Not much else to say. The only combo race between ARCA and ARCA West this year. Although some people will want to count the fall race because of how many main ARCA guys compete in that race, but I don't really count that. Because it's technically just a normal ARCA West race, just with a bigger field. But yeah, that's just ARCA at Phoenix, you know. What else to say? But hey, Carson Brown gets his first career win. So congrats to him on the win. Well deserved. You know, maybe a bright future for him in the future with RCR. Time will tell for sure. Mainly if Jesse Love gets promoted up to Cup in the future if Kyle Busch retires. Now we get to the IndyCar race at Phoenix. I want to say this, the IndyCar race this weekend was easily the best race this weekend. Like, without a doubt, IndyCar put on a better race at Phoenix over O'Reilly and the Cup Series. Like honestly, this just shows how much better IndyCar is as a product. And why IndyCar deserves more attention. Especially when IndyCar's putting on a better on-track product than the main Cup Series. Did I mention that Phoenix is an ISC track, which is owned by NASCAR? So that's got to be pretty embarrassing when one of the series you're trying to run in the ground, you have a crossover weekend without a pity, puts on a better race at Phoenix than you. Like, honestly, this race is just an example of why IndyCar needs some more oval races. And honestly, I do like the IndyCar NASCAR crossover weekends. Well, except having to listen to McGonnell in the fucking booth for 2 hours. That was fucking annoying. But what can you do there? I mean, that's just what McGonnell's just an example of what happens when you bootleg NASCAR so goddamn long. To where you get promoted easily. Because nepotism and mediocrity rewarded at its finest. But mainly this race, it was mainly Kyle Kirkwood and David Malukas dominating the majority of this race. It was mainly those two, especially with Alex Palou getting crashed out early. And Palou getting crashed out early has some major championship implications, as this means that for the first time in 622 days, Alex Palou will not be leading the championship. Yeah, and of course I've heard a lot of people coming in this week saying, oh, what's the point of even watching IndyCar anymore? It's just going to be the same guy dominating and winning all over again. This is why you actually run the fucking races, kids. As anything can happen in racing. It's motorsports. Anything can and will happen. But of course, in the closing laps, it would end up being a battle for the win between Newgarden and Kyle Kirkwood. But Newgarden would have the tire advantage late. And Joseph Newgarden gets the lead from Kirkwood with 7 to go. And once Newgarden got the lead, Newgarden never looked back. Even despite Rasmussen trying to get up there in the closing laps, he would end up making contact with the wall. And would end up finding himself out of the race. But up front, Newgarden would go on and get the win at Phoenix. So yeah, even in IndyCar, Penske still dominates Phoenix. Yeah, that's crazy that Penske dominates Phoenix in 2 different racing series. More things change, the more they stay the same. But yeah, Newgarden gets his first win of the season, so Newgarden already off to a better start than last year. Considering that Newgarden didn't even win a race until like the season finale at Nashville last year. So hey, better start for Newgarden. Could Newgarden maybe be the one to dethrone Alex Palou this year? Or was this week just a blimp this week for Palou? We'll have to find out for sure. But I would say IndyCar needs to do their broadcast better, because their broadcasts are probably going to be what's holding them back from bringing in new fans. That and marketing. Like I've always said, IndyCar's honestly been better than NASCAR and F1. The problem is IndyCar's marketing and the way they do their broadcasts. It's the main thing holding that motorsport back from being #1 in America. If IndyCar could figure that shit out, they could easily make a serious run at NASCAR. Will that ever happen? Time will tell. In the meantime, IndyCar, take your victory over NASCAR on being a better race than the Cup Series this weekend. Whether that will be enough to beat NASCAR in the ratings or not is to be determined. Probably not, because it's not the Indy 500. But hey, you know, maybe miracles can happen.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Now we get to the O'Reilly Series race at Phoenix, and well, it was the second best race of the weekend. As this race, it was mainly just Junior Motorsports versus Jesse Love, just the championship race from the fall all over again. This time, Junior Motorsports was out for revenge after embarrassingly blowing a 75% chance of the championship again, robbed in Phoenix in the fall to Jesse Love. But Jesse was out there to prove that what happened in the fall was no fluke, and that he is somewhat deserving. I mean, the stats did say you have a pretty solid season, but when you compare it to Zillage, it's like, maybe not, but Jesse Love is determined to try and get a legitimate title this year. As of course, in the early going of this race, it was mainly just him and Sam Mayer battling it out for the win. Although Allgaier and Carson Kvapil made some runs up there too. Like, the only real Junior Motorsports car that really didn't compete in this race was the Leach car of William Byron. Since this was the first week of many this year, where Byron was in the 88 car instead of Raja Carruth, and Raja had to go to the 32 for Jordan Anderson. Because Raja's only in that 88 car when the HMS drivers aren't leaching in Cup, in O'Reilly. So, yeah. But, of course, Sam Mayer did come up there to make a challenge, too, but had no speed at the end. In the end, this came down to being a two-way battle between Jesse Love and Justin Allgaier. And of course, since it's the spring race, Allgaier always seems to do well in the spring at Phoenix. But then again, Allgaier also does well at Phoenix in the fall too. Like, Phoenix is easily Allgaier's best track. And Allgaier was able to run down Jesse Love, get the lead. And Allgaier goes on and gets his first win of the season, getting the win at Phoenix. So, Allgaier once again proving why Phoenix is his best track as the Gator gets it done, his 29th career win, as Allgaier continues to build on his legacy in the O'Reilly Series. You know, maybe a couple more wins in another championship, and maybe there's a case Allgaier could make the Hall of Fame. Like, I'm like even with Allgaier's resume, I don't know if he can make the Hall of Fame because of his lack of success in Cup. I mean, I think he can 100% get on the ballot. But getting in the Hall of Fame just by being an O'Reilly Series lifer is going to be hard to do. Unless we have a weak class, then maybe it's a possibility. Or hell, maybe even the Pioneer ballot. I don't fucking know. I mean, it's very tough to make the Hall of Fame if you have no success in Cup Series. And again, miracles have happened before. I mean, we've seen Ron Hornaday Jr. make the Hall of Fame. We've seen Mike Stefanik make it in. We've even seen Todd Bodine make it. No, just mainly Ron Hornaday and Mike Stefanik make it in. And Stefanik's mainly known for his success in modifieds, and Hornaday's known for his success in trucks. So, hey, maybe anything is possible. But congrats to Allgaier, and with that win, Allgaier now takes a slim points lead after 4 races. So, 4 races in, it's looking like maybe Allgaier could be a front runner for the championship this year. Now we move on to the F1 season opener in Australia. And this, of course, is the start of a new era in F1. As, of course, when one chapter in Abu Dhabi last year ended, a new one begins. New regulations, new cars. We even got 2 new teams on the grid with Audi and Cadillac coming in. Of course, this race, a lot of the fireworks started before this race even began, with Oscar Piastri crashing the car in his home race on the Renaissance lap to the grid. God damn it. The race hadn't even started yet, and Piastri's already getting screwed over by McLaren's favoritism for Lando. Well, I guess the more things change, the more they stay the same. But to the race start itself, well, I'll say this, the first 10-15 laps had more passing in this race than all of last year combined. Like, it was actually somewhat entertaining to watch the first 10-15 laps. I mean, with this new car, it actually lived up to the hype when everyone was close together, with dirty air being a factor. Of course, how much of those overtakes factored on teams trying to conserve the battery and some being aggressive, that's to be determined, since some teams are still trying to figure these new regulations out, and so many new things to keep an eye on. But of course, throughout the first half of the race, it was mainly a battle between George Russell and Charles Leclerc for the win. As early on as in this race, it's looking like it's going to be a battle between Ferrari and Mercedes for the championship this year. But of course, we would get a safety car early from Isaac Ajar blowing the engine. And then during that safety car, the Mercedes would both pit while Ferrari would keep both cars out. It's like, why would Ferrari keep both cars out? Honestly, I would have had at least one of them pit, and then hope you get lucky with another one. In which they got another safety car later on when Bottas would stall the car out near the entry to pit lane. But before Ferrari could even make a move at trying to pit under that safety car, under that virtual safety car, the track workers then came out to push the car and close pit lane. So I can't fault Ferrari for that one, because they couldn't even pit if they wanted to because of Bottas blocking the way. Which I don't know why they told Bottas to pull the car over right there on that spot. Like, that was pretty fucking stupid on Cadillac's part. Like, honestly, he's already near the entry to pit lane. Just have Bottas run down pit lane, drive down pit lane, and just retire it there in the box on pit lane. Just have him box in to retire the car if he's that close. Like honestly, I'll say this though. I knew Cadillac was going to be dog shit this year and they were going to have their growing pains, but Jesus Christ. I didn't think it was going to be bad enough to where they make stupid-ass decisions like that. Like, to say Cadillac has a lot of room for improvement is a massive understatement. At least Perez was okay. I mean, he did finish sick. He did have a seat, did finish the race. So, I mean, Perez was like maybe the only positive spotlight for Cadillac this weekend in their first race. I mean, for Perez's run, it wasn't horrible for a new team. But yeah, Cadillac definitely has their work cut out for them. Especially if they want to become America's new team and dethrone Haas. Well, I mean, they're kind of already halfway there since Haas has that sponsorship with Toyota Gazoo this year. And they're probably halfway to selling the team to Toyota and Toyota coming back to F1 full-time. And, I mean, if Haas sells it to Toyota, all the American fans are going to get fucking pissed. Alright, batting mainly the NASCAR ones. Honestly, fuck them at this point. But up front, Ferrari would eventually pit both cars for tires, and they would do a one-stop strategy. But they would lose track position to both Mercedes of Russell and Kimi Antonelli. As both of them were able to take advantage of the early pit stop to gain track position, and both Ferraris could not run them down. So yeah, even with a lot of things changing in F1, something stayed the same, mainly Ferrari going full Ferrari. God damn it. But yeah, of course, with the new car, though, it's good. It's good when the cars are close. But when they spread out, though, it honestly just plays out like a normal F1 race. And in the end, George Russell, once he got the lead, after Ferrari went full Ferrari, Russell never looked back. And George Russell gets the win in Australia and becomes the championship leader. First time, I believe, in Russell's career he's led the points. So yeah, and of course, Russell came into the season as the favorite for the championship based on what happened in preseason testing for Mercedes. So yeah, can Russell actually make a mount at the championship? And of course, I know a lot of people are going to dread these regulations because it might mean that Mercedes domination is officially back in business. I mean, Ferrari in Australia proved they have the car to compete with Mercedes this year. They just need to have better pit strategy. Like, their pit strategy is the only thing holding them back at this point. Also, some notes from Australia is, well, Verstappen, Red Bull, and Norris and McLaren all have their work cut out for them. But hey, Arvid Lindbaum had a really good debut in the Racing Bulls car. Definitely his future looks bright for sure. And also, Gabriel Bortoleto got some points in Audi's first race, so that's some positives there. So yeah, even though there's some negatives to talk about with the car and about if it was some manufactured dog shit or not, or if it's just F1 copying the NASCAR 550 horsepower package from a few years ago and showing what NASCAR really wanted with that package, but completely dropping the ball with it, that's to be determined. But hey, at least this race was better than some of the shit we had in F1 the last few years, though. It's an improvement in some ways, but there's definitely a lot to be improved on, that's for sure. Now, before we get to the Cup Series race at Phoenix, we need to address Alex Bowman's situation. As of course, we all saw last week that Bowman had some health issues that got pulled out of car late at Coda for Myatt Sider to take over. And Bowman was extremely off the pace before HMS finally did the mercy kill and pulled the plug on him. Of course, we found out that Bowman actually ended up having vertigo in that whole situation. And as a result, Bowman is out of the car for the foreseeable future. How many races will he be out is to be determined. But of course, this week for HMS, they will put Anthony Alfredo in the 48 car for their sub for Bowman. So Alfredo going to get an opportunity to drive in a top ride for once. So yeah, Alfredo gets an opportunity on a real team. How they capitalize with it is to be determined. But yeah, and also I do send my prayers to Bowman. I wish him a speedy recovery. But of course, vertigo, it's not easy to recover from. Like, in some cases, vertigo, it could be not only a season ender, it could be a career ender. So yeah, and honestly, I think a lot of us are hoping that Coda was not Bowman's last race in the 48 car. Especially considering that this is a contract year for Bowman, and Bowman was already 36 in points before being diagnosed with vertigo. And also with Bowman missing races this weekend, this is now the third time in the last 5 years that Bowman has missed time in the 48 car due to health issues. 2022, he missed multiple races in the chase with that concussion he suffered at Texas. 2023, he missed multiple races with that back injury from that sprint car crash. And now, most likely going to miss multiple races due to vertigo. And I honestly felt like this was going to be Bowman's last year. And I think this might be this might be what ends Bowman's career at HMS. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how talented you are or how much financial backing you have. If you can't stay healthy in this sport, you will not survive long in this sport. You know, it sucks for Bowman. Obviously, nothing Bowman did wrong. It was just some pretty shit luck. But yeah, I wish Bowman a speedy recovery. Hoping to see him back soon. Let's just hope that Coda was not his last race in the 48 car. Now on to the Cup Series race at Phoenix. And well, this race was honestly just a fucking Goodyear Tire Roulette shit show. Like, there were a bunch of tire failures. Like, honestly, this was just a repeat of what happened in the fall last year, in the season finale. But with 80 more horsepower and no green-white checker finish this time. And no Denny Hamlin Masterclass to get screwed out of. But yeah, it was just, like, outside of the shit show elements, it was honestly just an average 5 out of 10 Phoenix race. Like, it's just your average Phoenix race. I mean, it's Phoenix. It's not really honestly not really one of the better tracks on the schedule. Like, seriously, with how this race ended, this is supposed to be the start of a real season, the real start to the season. This fucking race couldn't even fucking piss in the toilet straight without hitting the fucking toilet rim. Like all I say is, with this race being dog shit, what's the excuse now gonna be next week for all the fucking road course hating slappies? Well, what, is Vegas now the real start? Or if Vegas ends up bombing next week, is it gonna be Darlington? Or is it gonna be Martinsville? Or Bristol? Or so on and so forth? And this whole thing just becomes a never-ending cycle of excuses? Like I always say, the fan base is, when are the fucking excuses going to stop? That's the one question I have. When are you just gonna stop making excuses and just come out of the closet already with the road course hate? But hey, at least the IndyCar NASCAR crossover was cool. And hey, at least in the booth we didn't get subject to Logano for 3 hours. We got at least James Hinchcliffe and Townsend Bell in the booth for stage 2, which is good to hear their takes on it. Even getting some interviews with some other guys from IndyCar up in there too. Like, we have Malukas in there, even Scott McLaughlin and Newgarden got some time on the air. But yeah, mainly this race, it was mainly dominated by Christopher Bell and Logano in the early parts. Well, until late in the race when Logano would get taken out by Allmendinger and would take out Josh Berry and Daniel Suarez. In terms of how Alfredo ran the car, Alfredo really didn't do too much in that car. He really was like outside the top 30 for the most part. Like, I think when he started to get comfortable and moved up in the field, that's then when his day got ended early from Logano taking out Chastain and taking Alfredo and Cindric out in the process. Like, I'll just say this, Ryan Blaney saved Penske Racing's ass in this race. Because if Blaney didn't go out and compete for the win, this would have been an absolute Penske team killer race. Considering that Logano and Cindric both crashed out in some pretty hard crashes. And we also had a number of tire failures. Like, it was just Goodyear Tire Roulette. Like, I swear to God, in terms of this race, in terms of who had a tire failure, I feel like NASCAR just has a fucking wheel up in the tower and they just spin it. And whoever that wheel lands on is whoever gets a tire failure. It's like simply, okay, spin the wheel. Oh, SVG gets a tire failure? Okay, grenade the tire. Around he goes. Oh, wheel in on Kyle Busch? All right, tire failure for him. Oh, John Nemechek? Okay, in the wall you go. Oh, Austin Dillon? In the wall you go. Like, God damn. Like, I swear that's how fucking Goodyear Tire Roulette is decided with whenever Goodyear brings a dog shit tire to the track. It's just tire roulette on who gets a tire failure. You just gotta pray to God you don't end up, that wheel doesn't land on you. But yeah, of course, Blaney had the most up and down day because Blaney twice had to go from the back to the front. As Blaney had a loose wheel that he pitted again for, and then had a penalty for pitting outside his box when he had another loose wheel, and then had Logano's pit crew tighten it up for him. But even despite that, that's still a no-no in the rule book. But of course, despite all that, Blaney would end up scratching and clawing his way back and would get the lead late from Christopher Bell. Even despite Bell's best efforts to get the lead, he just had no answers for Ryan Blaney. And for anybody wondering about Tyler Reddick, since Reddick was trying to go for 4 in a row and trying to go 4 for 4 this season and be the first to win 4 in a row since Jimmy Johnson in 2007, Reddick was really a non-factor in this race all day. I believe the highest he came in this race was 3rd, and then he faded back late. Even though we had some contenders late from some late race pit strategy, with some cars taking 2 and some taking 4, especially seeing Ty Gibbs and Kyle Larson up at the front late, just nobody was denying Ryan Blaney in the late going. And even despite Bell's best efforts to run him down late, he just could not get to Blaney. And Ryan Blaney gets the weekend sweep for Penske, as Penske got the win in IndyCar with Newgarden, and Penske gets the win in the Cup race with Blaney at Phoenix. And for the first time this year, somebody not named Tyler Reddick wins. So hey, at least we could talk about somebody else this week. And it just proves that Reddick is mortal. So yeah, and also with Reddick losing, at least that'll put an end to all those conspiracy theories about Reddick's 3-for-3 start being part of the settlement deal between 23XI and NASCAR. I'll say this, anybody that actually believes that conspiracy theory that Reddick's 3-race winning streak to open the year was part of the settlement deal between NASCAR and Michael Jordan is a fucking jackass. Like, I'll be honest, there are times where I'll have my retard moments, but never will I ever sink to that kind of level of retardation in the NASCAR community. All I say in terms of that is, come on, folks. Do better than that. I've seen this fan base be way fucking smarter than that. I honestly know this fan base has some dumbasses, but do you honestly expect me to believe that this fan base is that fucking retarded? Hell no! I know this fan base is way better than that shit. Start fucking proving it, damn it. But yeah, Blaney got the win in a pretty average Phoenix race. At least, even though it's a Penske win, at least it wasn't fucking Logano. But yeah, but all I say is Penske got extremely lucky Blaney won this race. Because this weekend, in terms of the Cup race, could have been an absolute disaster if Blaney didn't win this race. Considering how Logano and Cindric both DNF'd out. But hey, I mean, in the end, ended up being a pretty successful weekend with a sweep. Well, outside the O'Reilly Series race, but Penske don't compete in that no more. But hey, the 2 races Penske does compete in, they won both in. So yeah. But yeah, that's just Phoenix for Cup this week. But hey, at least somebody else won for a change. But yeah, it's really tough to say who actually are the front runners in the Cup Series this year. Like I've always said in the past, you can't really get a proper gauge of who the front runners in the Cup Series will be this year till about 8 races into the season. I think by the time we get to about mid to late April, I think we got a good idea of who the title contenders will be. If that. But yeah, you know, I mean, it's Phoenix. What else do you expect? And it's Phoenix. This race was definitely not as good as last year's, considering that last year we had 2 different tire compounds, which made it interesting. This year we just had a pretty shit tire that just turned into a Goodyear shit show. But yeah, of course, in terms of Cup recaps, the next one won't be until Martinsville in a couple weeks. And in terms of racing recaps, see you all next week for IndyCar in Arlington, Texas, and F1 in China. Anyway, I'm out.